This is Michael Vass, and I'm speaking today with Stephen Aldstadt of SCOPE of New York. And we just want to take a moment before the event today to ask you, how have things been progressing with SCOPE? There was a recent success in the court.
We did just have a victory in the New York State Supreme Court in Albany. The state has been refusing to release the figures, the numbers on the assault weapons registry for over a year and a half now. We've been trying to get that information. We finally got a ruling from Judge McNamara that the state has to release those numbers. We didn't ask for any personal identifying information, no names or types or numbers of weapon registered or anything like that, just the raw numbers on how many records that they have. We feel that the language in the law that said that this was not public or private information was meant to protect the privacy of the individuals, but does not preclude them from releasing the total numbers of registrants.
Did they say when they expect that they may comply with that request?
We haven't got a response from the state police as of yet. The order is essentially immediately. We are still waiting for those figures to be released at this point.
Well, I'm sure this has been taken as and is a victory for all of the gun owners, but it would make me wonder, what is next? What's the next step?
The next step for SCOPE is we are continuing to press for more open government, and we're asking the state police to release the information in the Integrated Safe Act reporting system. This is essentially a secret government database that anyone who is reported by their mental health or medical professionals, or even a social worker or registered nurse, can be reported to the ISARS. That's Integrated Safe Act reporting system, and it's a secret government database that most people who are on it have no idea they're even on it. There's over 75,000 people on this list so far. The only people who are even aware that they're on this government database are a few gun owners who have had their property and their gun rights taken away from them. So we're asking everybody to fill out this Freedom of Information Act request, send to the state police, and ask them to release any information that they have on that individual.
Have you been finding there's been resistance from Albany on this?
Well, this is a program where we're just beginning, and the main purpose of this is to make the public aware, because most people don't even know what's going on. People think that the SAFE Act and this Mental Health 946 reporting system is all about gun owners, but it's about many, many more people. Only a small fraction of the people involved in this reporting and this secret government database are gun owners. It affects much, much more of the population. We're seeing many people who are falsely reported or incorrectly coded as involuntary admissions, and the next thing know, the police are knocking at the door and taking away their licenses and their property.
Is there any way, if someone was on the list, do you know if there's a way to get off the list? Is that something that's known as well?
Right now, most people who are on it have no idea they're even on it. So I don't know. Right now, I don't believe there is any mechanism for getting off the list. And the state's position on this, there is a major lawsuit now in federal district court before Judge Saragusa in Rochester. And one of the remedies that we're asking for is that everyone who's been reported this system shall be notified that there's been a federal HIPAA law violation, that their private medical information has been shared. So the main purpose of all of this is to get this out in the open. We're working for open and honest, transparent government, because it's all being done in the secrecy. That's why the name of this campaign is Stop the Secrecy Campaign.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more about that in the coming days and weeks. I'm looking forward to some announcements on that. And we hope that you have as much success as you did with the last.
We hope so too. We plan on having a press release or a press conference on this in June in the state capitol when we're ready to make the major announcement. Once we get the enough of these requests from the people.
Well, we look forward to that. We're going to be there as well. And I know you're speaking tonight, so we don't want to hold you up from that. But we do thank you for taking the time. And was there anything else you wanted to say before we go?
Just that we continue to work to overturn this NY SAFE Act. It was implemented in a way that was not open. Again, we're seeing more and more the way this government is operating, this administration, keeping people out of the process. It was passed in the middle of the night. It affects primarily only law-abiding gun owners. Will not do anything to address crime or make our neighborhood safer.
Well, we thank you for your efforts. And as I said, we're going to keep on top of this as we have. And we look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Act reporting system. An average of 750 people a week across New York State reported into the system. Over 75,000 people are on this secret government database now, and only very few people are even aware that they're on it, less than 1%. And those are the people who had pistol licenses, and the only reason they know that they're on this list is because they got the knock on the door, come and confiscate their guns. People need to know what's going on. This affects way more than gun owners. It affects anybody who has a medical condition, sees a doctor, particularly a mental health problem. In New York, the way things are going, you got to be crazy to go to seek mental health, right? I mean, it sounds funny, but it's really not. There's no accountability, no due process. All they have to do is point the finger at you and say you're a danger, and you go on the secret government list. So what we're doing is we have a Stop the Secrecy campaign, and we're asking all of you to help us with this. We have a series of forms that we put together. We'd like to ask you to fill this out. What this is a Freedom of Information Act request. We want you to fill it out, and it goes to the state police. You can send it to us, and we'll send it in mass, or you can send it in directly. And it says, I hereby apply to inspect the following records. All records pertaining to me in the possession or under control of the New York State Police since January 1st, 2013, including but not limited to those relating to any reports under Mental Hygiene Law 9.46, made through or stored within the Integrated SAFE Act reporting system, e-Justice, New York State Police Hotline, or other means of reporting the database storage and management. Again, this affects way more than gun owners. The state government is compiling a secret list, a secret database of people they consider a danger. So we'd like to ask you to join us on this. I see a couple of hands. I guess, did you have questions?
Are the hospitals required to do that, or are they just doing that on their own?
The state is telling the doctors and the hospitals that is a requirement. If you look into the law, it is not a violation or a crime for them not to do it. There is no penalty to the doctors or anything for not complying. So it's not even a violation if they don't do it, but the state are telling the professionals that it is a requirement. Many hospitals are simply automatically reporting it because their attorneys are telling them that it's a liability issue. They're afraid that if they don't report somebody, then the hospital's going to have a liability. So they're just reporting people en masse.
Are you able to make a comment about your meeting on Tuesday with the senators, what you're expecting from that meeting?
Thank you, Mayor. I've been asked to meet with the new Senate Majority Leader on Tuesday. I'm going to listen to what they have to say. I'm going to tell them, in my opinion, if we've been seeing some reports that they've said now the new Majority Leader is willing to make some changes to the SAFE Act. Well, if he's just going to pass some meaningless laws in the Senate that don't go anywhere in the Assembly, that doesn't do you or I or anybody else any good. It's just symbolic, and it doesn't. It's not going to change anything. So my message to them is, if you're serious about this, you've got to spend some political capital, work with the Assembly, and get something through the legislature that would actually benefit gun owners in New York State. Question?
Well, it's the same, really. Physicians and healthcare workers have an ethical
responsibility not to disclose to third parties confidential information about patients. That includes, in my view, their opinion about what an individual might or might not do in the future. This information is protected under the HIPAA laws, and I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but I suspect that in complying with this law, the people who do it are breaching the HIPAA regulations, and there may be grounds for suing whoever leaked the information and also people who acted on it.
Yeah, and these were, that was a theme that was over and over, that was talked about by the healthcare professionals in the hearing in the Senate Mental Health Committee. And that very point was brought over and over. Now in a suit that's before the Western District Federal Court, one of the remedies sought by that suit is that everyone who's been reported onto this list should be given a notification by the state that there has been a breach of their federally protected HIPAA rights. Yes.
We're seeing a fact of limitation of guns, not being able to purchase a gun or whatever limited, and also on ammunition, telling us there's no ammunition because the government's bought so much ammunition for FEMA that there's enough bullets to kill 9 times over, or all of us 9 times over. But if you want to go to the store and you want to buy 100 rounds of ammunition to shoot a 4-inch nail through a board, you can buy 50 rounds now for about $5, and every day of the week. There is no limitation of material. Like they're lying to us that they don't have it anymore because they're producing so much ammunition for everybody else. So you see this speculation of manipulation, and again, in the manipulation of the doctor, they can have an excuse why they do it, but they might not even be realizing that they're making an issue against you. It's just part of the process of them putting a mark on a sheet, and it's a creation to shut us down.
I want to thank you all for coming, and my time is up. We want to get to our main speaker, Tom DeWeese. But in closing, I do want to say one thing, and I want to address the question that Al brought up about what we can do, and it's been talked about by several of our speakers. I want to leave you with one thought. People always are saying, what can I do? I'm just one person. One person doesn't matter. I can't do anything. But I want you to think about this. Every single one of us changes the world every day by what we do and by what we leave undone. You do make a difference, and don't ever let anybody tell you differently. Thank you very much.